Straight ahead on CCX News, the impact of a construction worker shortage, how it has led the industry to try to reach students at an even earlier age. Plus, victory in the burbs. The DFL picks up key seats in the northwest suburbs, resulting in a power shift. But first, reaction to a historic night, with much of that history attributed to what voters decided in the local vote. CCX News starts right now. Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us. Election history was made Tuesday night, and voters in the Northwest Metro played a large role in that. Starting in House District 40B, a race won decisively by DFLer Samantha Vang. She will not only be the first Hmong American to represent 40B, she will also be the first person of color to represent that district. There was also history made in the Hennepin County Sheriff's race. Dave Hutchison, who goes by the nickname Hutch, defeated three-term incumbent Rich Stanek. The victory was by 1 percentage point, or just over 2,000 votes. If the result stands, he would become the first openly gay sheriff in the Midwest. And in Brooklyn Center, in the race for mayor, Mike Elliott defeated three-term incumbent Tim Wilson. Elliott will be the city's first Liberian immigrant to hold that office.
We have the most diverse city in the state of Minnesota, and this is something to be extremely proud of. I mean, you know, we really worked hard. We reached out to folks in every community, in the Hmong community, in the Latino community, in the African community, in every community. People came out and they exercised their right to vote, and they made their voices heard tonight.
Outgoing Mayor Tim Wilson posted a message to Brooklyn Center voters on his Facebook page, thanking him for the last 12 years, calling it a wonderful experience. He also talked about his many years on the city's Planning Commission and the city's Charter Commission. He concludes by saying, "Thank you, Brooklyn Center, for giving me this opportunity to be your mayor." More history was made last night when Democrat Ilhan Omar became the first Somali American elected to Congress. As Eric Nelson found out, Omar's win is a big deal for some Brooklyn Center students.
Ilhan Omar is definitely a role model for students all across Minnesota who have similar stories.
Ilhan Omar is a political trailblazer. And for Somali Americans at Brooklyn Center Middle School, she is a hero.
My friends have actually been talking about her a lot. Everybody's happy in some way.
On Monday, Siham Havi eagerly supported Omar.
I feel like she can make Minnesota better, and she can help us. She believes equality for everybody.
On Wednesday, the 7th grader was ecstatic to find out that Omar got elected to Congress. Havi is now happy that Somali Americans have a voice in D.C.
People will be more expressive about themselves and want to look up to her and maybe be like her.
For Javi and other minority students, Omar is proof that anyone from any background can rise to the top.
When you see somebody that represents you and your beliefs and the way you grow up, the way you speak, the way you practice religion, it gives you a visual for your future.
Omar's story is the classic American dream. From Somalian refugee to U.S. congressperson. She has overcome barriers and is an inspiration to many.
It's amazing to have all of these people from different backgrounds, races, class, gender, to show the students as people that they could become in a few years.
These Ilhan Omar election signs may someday be a collector's item. One thing we do know is that Brooklyn Center school officials have reached out to Omar, inviting her to campus sometime in the future. I'm Eric Nelson reporting for CCX News.
All right, thank you, Eric. Omar won the 5th District congressional seat to replace Keith Ellison. That district includes Brooklyn Center, New Hope, Crystal, Golden Valley, and Robbinsdale. The closest contest on election night locally was a Brooklyn Park City Council race. This is the Brooklyn Park City Council's Central District, a seat where the incumbent Rich Gates chose not to run for re-election. This race was decided by 19 votes and could lead to a recount. Tanya West Hafner currently leads Christian Erickson by that narrow margin. Believe it or not, there's actually been closer races in Brooklyn Park election history. In 2012, Bob Maida defeated challenger Winfred Russell by just 5 votes. This year, Russell challenged Maida again and ended up beating him by about 800 votes. A House district race that involves voters in Maple Grove and Osseo is among those that will result in a power shift at the state capitol.
I've equated it to sort of walking on sunshine. We are just overjoyed. I completely elated and excited. I know that my team did an amazing job.
DFLer Kristen Bonner defeated Republican incumbent Dennis Smith by more than 1,300 votes for the right to represent House District 34B in St. Paul. Bonner has never held public office, and she said she already has a list of priorities she'd like to focus on at the legislature. That list includes passing bills dealing with elder abuse and tax conformity. When asked if she benefited from being part of the so-called blue wave that thrust Democrats into office statewide, she said there's more to it than that.
In order to ride a wave, you got to paddle like heck to get out and get into position to be able to ride that wave. So I think for me it was a lot about hard work and determination.
The Bonner victory is one example of a strong showing by Democrats in the suburbs. As a result, when the Minnesota House convenes in January, the DFL will take control. The DFL picked up 18 seats in Tuesday's election and will hold a 75-59 edge. The Jenny Cleavorn victory over Republican incumbent Sarah Anderson in Plymouth's House District 44A is another local example of where the DFL flipped a seat. Robbinsdale schools had a very good election day. Voters in that district overwhelmingly passed a levy that will keep the district from having to cut academic programs. District officials say they've cut almost $17 million from the budget since 2017, and cutting more would have led to some very difficult choices. But the levy's almost $6 million a year means that worry is behind them, and the district could not be happier.
Last night, a lot of big smiles, and you know, the outcome of this referendum, over 60% approval, just really shows us that our community is behind our district and supports the work we're doing, and we couldn't do it without their support.
Bento says the district's next step is budget meetings, where they will discuss training for teachers and possible changes to school start times. When students graduate high school, their first instinct is to go to college. Wednesday in New Hope, labor unions gathered to show Maple Grove middle school students that there's another option after graduation. Reporter Meredith Hackler has more.
Hands-on, hard work. Skilled workers are hard to come by nowadays.
The average age of a construction worker is 50 years old, and I'm 52. I'm at the tail end of the baby boomer generation, and so therefore there's a lot of openings coming up, so we need kids.
But labor unions in the Twin Cities are hoping to change that.
There's a great opportunity in the trades. You have no college loans. You can make $60,000 a year right out of high school.
On Wednesday, Maple Grove Middle School students learned about careers in construction.
So we're trying to reach them at a younger age to let them know that there's a very viable option to join a trade and make a middle income.
Setting tile, laying brick, and cement finishing were just 3 of the 10 trades students got to try their hand at.
A lot of students haven't really worked with tools like this before to even understand if it's something that they're interested in. I believe that the exposure to all different types of work, trades like this and any other type of work is really important.
This is the first time students have worked with labor professionals in person to learn more about their trades. An educational experience skilled workers hope will encourage students to explore all their options before heading straight to college.
I hope what the kids leave here with today is they leave with the fact that this is something that they like to do, working with their hands. They can see how much fun it can be, and that they understand that there is a career path they can take that isn't necessarily the norm currently.
In New Hope, Meredith Hackler, CCX News.
A recent labor survey showed an overwhelming majority of construction firms are having a hard time hiring qualified workers. It has prompted many firms to raise wages and improve benefits. Still ahead on CCX News, a standout student who smells like team spirit. Plus, the Maple Grove girls hockey team skates into a new season with high hopes. That story later in sports. But first, the coldest weather since mid-April. Teachers say there's one student at Cooper High School that would finish up playing volleyball just to run out to the football field and support her classmates in that sport. That good attitude and team spirit is just one way that Laura Beener is standing out in her senior year.
10 seconds, what speed or what velocity are we at?
If you haven't been inside of a physics classroom in a while, today's lesson could seem intimidating. But senior Laura Beaner tackles this lesson the same way she does everything else at Cooper High School, with a good attitude.
I think I'm a very positive person, and I think that kind of shows. Like, I don't let all the schoolwork or all the things I'm doing bring me down, because I really love doing all of them.
And when it comes to all of the things she's doing, buckle up, because this list is impressive.
She's a great student, 3.8 something GPA, maintains all of that with 3-sport athlete, captain of 2 of those sports.
She stands out on the volleyball court, and especially on the softball field, where she lettered as a 7th grader and has been the #1 pitcher for the last few years.
Takes winning the same as she takes losing and leads by example.
Soon, Laura will be taking that leadership role to the younger students.
What type of navigation do we use?
When she helps out once again at the C School as part of a program to mentor kids in science.
Every other Thursday, we go into the C School and we teach them a science lesson.
Teachers say Laura leads by example.
Definitely a role model.
And forget the senior slide. She's going to keep excelling in high school, just like she has all along.
I think being just like a well-rounded kid, like Cooper allows me to kind of do everything and have fun doing it, and I think that's going to be what I remember the most.
Laura hopes to go to school at the University of Minnesota and study finance or business because she likes math. Still ahead, Halloween frightens up action against hunger at a school in Golden Valley. But first, the Maple Grove girls swimming and diving team gets set to compete at sections. John Jacobson is in next.
I'm John Jacobson with sports. The Maple Grove girls hockey team should be one of the top programs in the state again this season. Jason Malillo has a preview of the Crimson.
There's an intensity around the Maple Grove girls hockey team that's pushing every girl to work hard.
They're driven. It's a group that loves to compete against one another but be each other's best friends.
Manny McMahon will lead the Crimson offense, and Emma Larson will anchor the back line along with goalie Lucy Morgan. But MG also returns several talented underclassmen like Chloe Corbin, Tristana Tater, and Lauren Stensley.
It's definitely beneficial. I can tell how much they've improved this last summer and last season, and I think it's really going to help us with their experience under the belt.
Maple Grove will aim to be a puck possession team and utilize its speed to overwhelm opponents.
We are a speedy team, so we use that when we play teams, and it just comes down to hard work in the end. We're in a tough section, so that's what it comes down to.
By design, the Crimson plays a tough schedule with an eye toward getting better as the season progresses.
We challenge the kids. We try and build as tough a schedule as we can and get as many opponents on our schedule that are going to test us and that are going to show us our weaknesses so that we know what it is that we have to improve upon, which then, once we get to the postseason competition, we've done the work.
Jason Malillo, CCX Sports.
Maple Grove opens the season Saturday, November 17th against Champlin Park Coon Rapids. Along one of the best programs in the area, the Maple Grove girls swimming and diving team had fallen back to the pack in recent years. They've had a resurgence this season. As Jay Wilcox reports, the Crimson are prepared to compete for a section title this weekend.
As they swim toward the final portion of the season, the Maple Grove girls say it's been a very good year so far.
Yeah, I do. We've done really well this season compared to our last few, I guess. Everyone's swimming really well, and it's just been a great season.
Yeah, this season has been really exciting because we've gotten a bunch of new swimmers who have really helped our program, and it's just been a super fun year for the team to improve together.
The season's been really fun. We've had a lot of good dual meets. I've been impressed. We've had best times, lifetime best, season best. I'm looking forward to this weekend.
The Crimson captured the true team title in Section 8AA and were runner-up to Armstrong in the Northwest Suburban Conference. It's a good feeling to be part of a group that's bringing the program back up to a high level.
Yeah, it's a good feeling to know that we have brought the team back to where they used to be. For a while we were kind of stuck, but now with this new team we're coming back up again to where we should be.
It's been really cool. Like, it's the best senior season that I could have asked for. We've been doing really well. And, like, we won true team sections, which was super fun. That was one of our goals, and hopefully we win sections this year. That'll be so cool because we haven't won while I've been on the team. And it's just really, really fun to be here with this team to do so well.
This weekend, it's the Section 8AA meet. There's some pressure, but the Crimson say that tapering has gone well, and they're ready to compete hard for spots at state.
Yeah, we've been working a lot with Laura and seeing like new techniques to work on during practice. We've been really evaluating what we've made mistakes on in the past and trying to make them better in the future. And I think going into this meet, we have a really good chance, yeah.
There's a little bit of pressure, but it is always fun to finally put on that really fast suit and see all the work that we've done this year pay off.
That's one of the top things on my list was to win sections, to win JV conference, and to win true team. So we've won 2 of those, so we're just looking for a 3rd.
We'll see this weekend if Maple Grove can add section title to the list of accomplishments this season. Jay Wilcox, CCX Sports.
Section 8AA swimming prelims are Friday and diving prelims Saturday, with the finals for both Saturday at 4 p.m. at Vandenberg Middle School in Elk River. Many of the teams from our area compete in Section 5AA. The swim prelims for that section are Thursday, with the swimming and diving finals scheduled for Saturday at 5 p.m. at the Minnetonka Aquatic Center. Shannon, back to you.
All right, thank you, John. Up next, a Golden Valley school inspired by Halloween, how the school found a way to scare away hunger. And finally, a group of nonprofits got a friendly reminder today that Halloween can be about more than just costumes and candy. Students from the Breck School in Golden Valley loaded buses this morning with more than 11,000 pounds of food. The effort is part of the annual Breck Scares Hunger program, where students collect non-perishable food items during the week of Halloween. The students then bring the food back to Breck and deliver the items to local nonprofits.
It feels good because I know it's going to help the people in my community and people around my community.
The nonprofits receiving the food include the Division of Indian Work in Minneapolis, the Seep Food Shelf in Brooklyn Park, and the Sheridan Story in Roseville. So good job, students. That's all the time we have for now. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you right back here tomorrow starting at 4 o'clock.